I remember the night I left home like it was etched into my bones, sharp, unforgiving, burning with the kind of pain that leaves scars. I was just 23, clutching a battered backpack, my dreams trembling in my chest. My family's laughter still echoes in my ears, a cruel chorus of disbelief. "You're wasting your time," my father sneered, shaking his head as I packed my brushes and canvases into a worn cardboard box. "You're never going to be anything with that nonsense. Painting? That's a hobby, not a career. Grow up." My mother's eyes narrowed. "You're embarrassing us. Do you think we raised you to be some starving artist? Go get a real job. Stop dreaming about fairy tales." They mocked me relentlessly. Every word was a dagger, each comment a reminder that I was the black sheep, the disgrace, the failure in the making. My siblings rolled their eyes, whispering behind my back about how I was throwing my life away on ridiculous pursuits. But inside, I knew I had to leave, had to prove them wrong. So I walked out that door that night, heart pounding, tears threatening to spill. I was a coward for leaving, but I was also a fighter. I promised myself then, with every fiber of my being, that I would rise above their scorn, that I'd forge a path so undeniable, so unassailable, that they'd have no choice but to see me. Not as the joke they mocked, but as the victory I was destined to become. The first few years were brutal. I slept on couches, worked part-time jobs I despised, and poured every spare moment into my craft. I was learning, stumbling, failing, but never giving up. I devoured tutorials, stayed up nights honing my skills, and poured my soul into every stroke of paint or line of code. The world was cold, and rejection was relentless. Investors laughed at my game prototypes. Galleries turned me away, and my own doubts whispered that I'd wasted my life. But I kept going. Every no became fuel. Every setback sharpened my resolve. I refused to be what they said I'd be, a failure. I believed in my vision even when nobody else did. Years blurred into a relentless grind. I built my portfolio, networked with the right people, and finally my work caught fire. I launched my own game studio, an indie powerhouse that gained recognition for its unique storytelling and innovative mechanics. My paintings sold for thousands. My projects won awards, and suddenly I was no longer the laughingstock. I was the artist, the developer, the success story I'd always dreamed of. But what truly changed wasn't just the outside world. It was me. I had become someone unbreakable, forged in the crucible of rejection and solitude. I learned resilience, discipline, and the power of unwavering belief. My worldview shifted from one of desperation to fierce determination. I was no longer the boy or girl they mocked. I was a force. Then one day, I knew it was time. I was returning home, not just to visit, but to show them what I had become, to make them see the truth behind my journey. I arrived unannounced, my car rolling up the familiar driveway, my heart pounding with anticipation and a quiet, simmering fury. The house looked the same from the outside, but inside, everything had changed. I could see it in their eyes, the suspicion, the curiosity, the disbelief when I stepped through the door. My mother's hands trembled, my father's jaw clenched. I carried a portfolio, a symbol of everything I'd achieved. I didn't need to say a word. The evidence was in my work, in the awards, the press, the recognition that now surrounded me. They sat in the living room, eyes fixed on me as I laid my accomplishments out on the coffee table. Art pieces that had been exhibited worldwide, screenshots of my games that topped charts, headlines praising my name. I watched their faces, initial disbelief shifting into stunned silence. Then I saw my father's eyes narrow, the old skepticism flickering, replaced by something more complex, respect maybe, or begrudging acknowledgement. My mother's jaw slackened, her cheeks flushed with a mixture of pride and regret. It was then I knew I had won the battle. Not through words, but through what I had built with my own sweat and tears. I rose, standing tall, the weight of years of doubt and pain lifting from my shoulders. "Remember when you told me I was wasting my time?" You asked softly, voice steady but filled with emotion. "Remember how you said I was embarrassing the family? Look at this. This is my life, my truth. I didn't fail. I didn't give up. I proved that dreams, no matter how ridiculous they seem, can become reality if you fight for them." A heavy silence settled. My father looked away, uncomfortable, perhaps recognizing the truth in my words. My mother dabbed at her eyes, whether with tears of pride or regret, I couldn't tell. But I saw it. The shift, the realization that their words had been wrong, that I'd become more than they ever believed I could. In that moment, I felt a surge of catharsis, an unshakable sense that I'd reclaimed my dignity. I'd turned their ridicule into my triumph. I was no longer the outsider, the joke, the disappointment. I was the master of my destiny. Walking out that day, I left them with more than my success. I left them with the undeniable proof that persistence, passion, and unwavering belief can shatter even the most entrenched doubts. I had come home, not just to show them what I'd become, but to remind myself of the fire that had carried me through every dark night. Because in the end, the greatest revenge isn't fame or fortune. It's the quiet, unbreakable confidence that you've become everything they doubted you could be. And that, my friends, is the sweetest victory of all.